he was born in I would say, in the city of the Incas, which is
yes.
Cusco. Cusco, it's in the mountains of Peru.
Okay.
And we call it the Cusqueño, like he was from Cusco. And
how did he become a Christian? Sorry to interrupt that.
yeah, no. Oh, that is a fascinating story,
Because
but
I'm
I don't know.
thinking
We are going to have time.
Go
for
ahead,
that.
just tell the story.
Okay,
it'll work.
Well, okay.
All right, everybody, welcome to The Practical Dad. I got another episode here called The Dad Experience, but today I have a wonderful brother who has given up his evening to be with us today, Christian Santos. Is that right? Correct?
Yes, correct.
I didn't know if I had
Santos.
said it right.
Yeah. When we are in America, we need to pronounce as Americans, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Christian, you are from Peru originally, is that right?
From Peru. Yes. My home city is Lima.
Lima, yeah.
Mm-hmm. The capital. Yeah.
I've never been to Peru. I don't know if any of the guys listening, the dads listening, know anything about Peru, but Christian's going to be with us today talking about the dad experience. Basically, two things that we do. Number one, you were a son, whether you had a dad or didn't have a dad, you're still a son. And we want to talk about that experience and pull out just one practical thing that maybe dads can learn to do, to apply or not to do. And then your perspective as a father. And so we're just going to do that, but kind of just talking about Peru a little bit. That was one of the interesting things of why I wanted you on here to, what is Peru? What does it look like from that perspective?
Yeah, that is a good question. Peru is part of my heart.
Mm-hmm.
I became American because I'm married to an American.
Where's she from?
My wife.
What state?
Virginia.
Okay.
Well, we married in Peru, actually.
Yes.
But we moved, I think it was like 14 years ago.
Okay.
We moved to Virginia, and Canada was was our place for a long period of our time.
Wow.
Here in the U.S. So, well, about Peru. Peru, as you might know, some of your listeners, it's in South America. It's a predominantly Catholic country. And culturally, we are not that different. We have minor cultural differences, but we share the common language of Christianity, if we can say that, right? Yeah. So if you bump somebody on the streets, if we talk about Jesus, they are gonna know, right?
Yes.
So that's the language. We know as Christians, in a broad sense, the language of the things that the Ten Commandments and the things that we shouldn't do, the things that God dislikes and the things that God likes.
Oh, so they're fairly familiar.
They're fairly familiar. I'm not saying that they are knowledgeable about it.
Right.
Like here in America, it's like Christians might be a little bit like culturally.
Yes.
And not necessarily from the heart.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
So same thing in a Catholic version.
Okay.
So I grew up in Lima when... probably I'm exaggerating a little bit because when I was a kid, that was my impression. My impression was that there were few evangelicals. I grew up in a Christian home.
Okay.
My dad was a first-generation Christian. And, I grew up under his roof knowing already a bunch of things about the Bible.
Wow. So your background is you actually grew up in a Christian household in Lima, Peru.
Exactly. In a Catholic surrounded country. Not country, but in as cultures.
Culture, Roman Catholicism.
So, yeah, I like to make the distinction. And you pointed out something very interesting because I don't like to use the word Catholic just by itself.
Yes.
There are Roman Catholics.
Yes.
Right? So, and yeah, that kind of a little bit of the framework.
Mm-hmm.
So, to me, Catholicism, really quick,
Yeah.
it was something that, oh, these people, they say to be Christians, but they don't know much about the Bible. And in general, it is that way. I could tell really that the kind of studies that I had in my house, simple. My dad opened the Bible and we have kind of a family study.
Yeah.
And
Was that every day or just here and
not
there?
every day,
Just yeah.
but it was like every Saturday for sure.
Okay.
Kind of every now and then we have it more than that. But it was like every Saturday we open the Bible as a family and we read together, we pray together, and it's not just that. Something that I really remember is dear in my heart is that we read. My dad explained the text, and he was very knowledgeable, even though he was not Reformed. But many of those things, it was just reading from the scriptures and explaining the text. It was very, very sweet.
The simplicity of it all.
Yeah, exactly.
Is he a pastor?
He was a pastor. My dad passed away in 2016.
Oh, brother.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I'm the youngest of 7.
Okay.
And I kind of I was born when my dad was around 56.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't enjoy my dad as much as a normal.
Yes, yeah. It was a
person
different
enjoy their
experience.
parents, right?
Yes.
But you asked me for an experience as a son.
Yes.
We all are sons, but we are not fathers. So I think one of the most cherishable memories I have is this open the scriptures and knowing that my dad had an answer, even though sometimes it was not very impressive.
Yeah.
But it was a person that it was nice to talk with. In a way, I want to be that. I want to be that person that I'm easy to talk with. Yeah. I'm not as scary I have 4 girls. God didn't provide for that. Yeah. That's one of my most beautiful memories.
Just the simplicity of it all. I love that because I think some dads think, oh, I have to have all this wealth of knowledge to lay on my children. I have to have every answer to every question. Yeah. And we're seeing that's not actually the case.
Even though I believe I didn't know the Lord, and I need to be very careful with this because I don't want to discourage people to continue talking with their kids. And if they profess to be Christians, hey, you could treat him as believers, right? But we need to be very careful with our children, and in a very, I would say, comprehensive way. Not being too judgmental. Probably I'm going a little bit ahead, but
no, it's fine. It's fine.
In touching a little bit the subject, but I was not a believer, but all those things build up in me a full set of resources that were already embedded in my brain. When I realized to the gospel, when I woke up to the gospel, let's say it in that way, all those passages, all those teachings just suddenly just came like, whoa.
Yeah. I know
now
what you're talking about.
Everything makes sense.
Yes.
That kind of stuff. And yeah, it was great. I mean, I believe I became a Christian, a true believer, unless the Lord had every conversion had nuance.
Yeah.
But I believe I came to the Lord at my 30s,
Okay.
and I had an experience with the Lord, and He revealed His gospel to me, even though that doesn't mean that I never heard it before.
Right.
My dad himself told me the gospel, but it's like
Yeah.
oh yeah, I got it. Christ died for me.
Head knowledge. Yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
head knowledge, but not an internal change. So yeah, and I think that was incredibly helpful for me.
So if I'm, let me kind of go back, if that's all right. Maybe this will make sense. You're saying it's very likely, the reality is you were converted at age 30, but when your eyes were open to see this gospel, it was like you went back in history and then could see, oh wow, look at this treasure that I've had.
You heard that that saying that when you are dying, your life shows up like a movie.
Yes.
Right, a set of pictures.
Yes.
It happened to me when I felt like, oh, I don't think I'm a believer, and my life started showing in my face like all the things that I did, like a movie. Like,
yes,
this is the end.
Yes.
And the first thought that came to my mind when I was, by the way, that was watching a video on YouTube, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what the tool that got used on me.
Yes.
And after hearing the preacher, I said, I'm not a believer.
Wow.
I'm in trouble. And my desire was, like I was a typical dispensationalist that's saying, I'm going to see Jesus. I'm going to dance with Jesus. I'm going to be with Jesus and this and that. Oh yeah, heaven is going to be a great family reunion and all those things. And I realized I'm not going to see His face. A terror came into me.
Yeah.
I was like terrorized.
Yes.
Terrified. Terrified by the idea that I'm not going to see His face. Later on, that very thought now gave me peace, because I was not thinking, oh, you're not going to see your family or something. No, I was thinking in Jesus. The only person that I was thinking, I'm not going to see, I'm going to miss Jesus. And that gripped me hard. So, yeah, that was the context of my conversion. And
what video was it, by the way?
That's a good question. The instrument that got used for my conversion was Brother Paul Washer. Not the message that you are thinking about.
Yeah,
I know what message you are thinking about.
Well, a lot of these, probably a lot of the guys that are listening, they don't have any context for any of that. Yeah. And also, if you're wondering why I'm in a suit,
yeah,
and we're in this location and the lighting's not wonderful, is we're actually at a course right now. I'm just sitting in learning the course, and so this is the hotel. And I thought, hey, I'll just use what works, and so that's why I have this. I hope I sound okay, by the way.
Yeah, no noise.
Yeah, my headphones are all messed up. But yeah, so Brother Paul Washer, a video from him. Yeah, that's what.
I just want to love myself. I'm so casual now.
I love it too.
I feel like totally
I feel overdressed. I feel overdressed.
No, you're good. Brother Paul Washer was the tool for the audience that may not know him. Is a dear friend.
Mm-hmm.
And I met him in Peru. He was a missionary in Peru, and then later on, it's just his message makes sense to me.
So you actually met Brother Paul in Peru before you were converted.
Before,
and then it was through the video. Just your relationship.
Let's put it in briefly in a real time. I met him in 1998.
Okay.
I was a young fellow at that time, and I was just going with my dad to a conference, and it happened that the conference was Brother Paul was preaching there.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like, oh, this preacher is a little bit different, even though at that time I was a little bit more into this trendy culture of looking for, what is the name of this? I had it in my mind.
The emotion, feeling?
No, this kind of style of churches that seeker-friendly churches.
Seeker-friendly, yeah.
So I was looking for a seeker-friendly church too, where you have fun.
Yeah.
Jesus is fun. The Bible is fun. Something like that. So going to a Baptist church, a traditional Baptist church, would sound like a little bit of boring idea to me. Anyway, I went, and it happened to be Brother Paul. For some reason, I felt like this man is different.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of kind of an authority comes from him. I didn't understand the gospel. He was not explicitly going directly in an evangelistic topic.
Yeah.
And I had a really nice impression of him. Years passed. Now on 2010, 2000, probably 2011. Oh man, I'm confused those days, those years. But let's put it 2011. Going to a regular church. I'm believing myself as a Christian, part of the church, struggling in my life, having no victory at all in everything, in anything. And I just stumbled upon this video that it looked like a clickbait to me. Somebody made a perfect thumbnail.
Yeah.
Guys, thumbnails are incredibly...
Right here.
It was, you don't know the gospel.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, come on. My dad is a pastor. I know the gospel.
Yeah.
I was pride.
Yeah.
It was my pride that tells me, I'm going to prove this guy, whatever he is, whoever it is, that I know the gospel. Let's see what he needs to say. And he said, I'm going to say what is not the gospel first. And every word he said, I believe it was the gospel.
Oh, wow. So he's already got
So
you.
are you telling me that what I believe is the gospel is not the gospel? Okay, man, you have my attention.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what is the gospel then. And then is when all this movie passes through my head.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I read those texts. Never makes sense. And now all this makes sense. Man, I'm doomed. I'm doomed.
Mm.
I'm not a Christian. I'm not a believer. It's like it was not necessarily one of the most beautiful sermons. It was very straightforward.
Yeah.
Like the ones that we know, Brother Paul, we know his straightforwardness. And and affect me, and I just started devouring more videos. I was reading my Bible and asking the Lord for 2 long weeks, save me, please, save me. I don't want to go to hell, but if you send me to hell, I'm going to praise your name there. And then after those 2 weeks, I started feeling peace.
Wow.
And my family had a hard time to believe me. No, Christian, you are being too harsh on yourself. I didn't know how to answer those things. I mean, I didn't know what to say. And I felt like the Lord clearly saying to me, if you are not willing to leave your father your mother,
Yeah.
your family, your loved ones, for the sake of my name, you are not my disciple.
Yep.
And my second terrifying moment was that, am I alone here? Already was married. But the Lord kind of did miracle after miracle after that, Yeah.
That's amazing. You know what I was thinking about was when you were talking, you said your dad took you to that conference.
Yes.
And that eventually is what led. And just the importance of, I see your dad just modeling. I'm sure he was an imperfect man like every guy is. That's what part of this podcast is just in our imperfections. What have we found some things that were helpful that our dads did? And what are some things that we're finding helpful or not so helpful? But what I've already gleaned from that is just being present with them and intentionally spending time with them for the Lord. So the simplicity of just sharing the truth, simplicity of just bringing you alongside.
Yeah. Still speaking as a son, one of the things that happened, and I'm totally sure that is providential, is that God provide me a home. And not just that, but the environment, right? As a many teenager, I was rebellious in a way.
Yeah.
I didn't go too crazy. I'm the kind of person that likes to follow the rules. And it was like that, but I was a moral person in a way. Wanted to do some mischievous things every now and then. So I consider myself not a terrible sinner, not a great Christian as either.
Yes.
Right. But by far not. I'm not in those.
You're
in
not
the camp
lost.
of the, not lost. The thing is that something happened in my life that my dad became in the list of my best friends. And I know this is not very common, sadly. And I think providentially, and that's what I wanted to say about providentially, is that God used this difficulty in my life for my dad to be my first confidant on that, right? Not my friends on the school, not my friends in college, but my dad. So that helped a lot. So I rely a lot on my dad, and my dad never betrayed that confidence, that trust.
Yeah.
Right. So as a son, I appreciate that.
Wow.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
How are you trying, or what do you see kind of you just picking up naturally as now that you're a dad and the things that your dad did, are you modeling the same things by just naturally doing that?
No, that does not come naturally. I'm telling you.
Okay.
Many of us, we can say, hey, seems like it's so easy to repeat the mistakes, not the good things. Good things are hard.
Yeah.
I think I can tell this story since my dad passed. I always like to, when I'm talking with friends and brothers, they ask me a little bit about my dad. And said, look, I feel like I'm never gonna be at his stature.
Yeah.
Not putting my dad in a pedestal, but to me, it's a person to follow.
Yes.
He was a pastor. His first years as Christian, he studied the seminary, and then he was a missionary. From his year 21, 32, when they were missionaries with my mom and my first two siblings. Well, then they moved to Lima, the capital of Peru, and established a church. Then later on, he preached in several churches, and he was a pastor in a few churches.
Did he grow up in Lima?
No, my dad, he was born in I would say, in the city of the Incas, which is Cusco. Cusco, it's in the mountains of Peru.
Okay.
And we call it the Cusqueño, like he was from Cusco. And
how did he become a Christian? Sorry to interrupt that.
Yeah, no. Oh, that is a fascinating story, but I don't know. We are going to have time.
Go ahead, just tell the story.
Okay,
it'll work.
Well, okay, parentheses, right?
Yes.
This is amazing because he grew up in a Catholic house.
Okay.
And I'm talking about 1940s.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And if your audience remember, or you remember, until the year 1960, Catholic Church still have Mass, the celebration of the Mass, in Latin.
Oh, okay.
So they were not. So don't get me wrong, the homilies were made in the vernacular.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
But all the traditional part, the Eucharist and all those things were in Latin. And even though the homilies were in Latin in certain part. Well, that in the 60s that changed because the Vatican changed, and in that way we need to talk. We need to start doing it in the vernacular. So why I'm saying that, because that tells you what kind of a culture.
Yeah, that's
very hardcore Catholicism. When I see Catholics here in America, I say, nah, that's not Catholics. Catholics, they are hardcore.
Real
they are
deal.
like the Muslims of Christians.
Yes. Yeah, I can get that. Yeah.
Really, I'm saying, because part of that story is my dad's conversion.
Mm-hmm.
It happened that a Bible seller, and it was totally forbidden to sell Bibles in Peru at that time. So it happened that a Bible seller, like kind of an incognito, got into a train. My dad was going to visit his grandmother. And he was selling these books, and this guy reached to my dad and said, look, young man, I have a book that is going to tell you about the Creator and what he likes, what he dislikes. You can read his story here, and about his son.
Mm-hmm.
And he was fascinated. Oh, wow, what is this book? As a Catholic, you never seen a Bible, okay?
Yeah.
Because it was it's a forbidden book.
Yeah.
You must say, no, you are exaggerating. No, it's forbidden. It was that way. So, and he said, look, how much is it? Look, I don't have the money to buy that book. Okay, maybe you are interested in New Testament. That is a little, I think you are going to enjoy this one. It's just part of the Bible. It's just the New Testament, though. But you are going to find Jesus Christ. He is the Son of God. Little details that I'm forgetting. But, well, he was fascinated, and he got the money for that, and give it to him. And it happened that the train stopped kind of several miles down the road.
Yeah.
And he stick out his head out of the window, and he said, the women of the town where he should arrive was pulling the guy out of the train. And he couldn't be, what is happening? And the priest of the little town was looking from behind, like with
Just
crossing arms, watching the spectacle, basically.
Yeah.
The women pull the guy with I would say whips and whatever they
Really?
find. Yeah. And they beat the guy and burn their Bibles. Women. Just women. All the guys were looking and laughing.
Yeah.
And the priest was like looking
Just
the
like
spectacle
Paul.
and say, well, yeah, that's the punishment for selling Bibles, And my dad said, what is this? What is happening? And he was like 12, 13.
Wow.
He went to his grandmother and said, Grandmother, what happened? This guy was just, why they are beating him? It's because the guy was having Bibles. And that is a forbidden book. You cannot have that Bible.
And he had bought one.
And he just bought one and it was in his pocket. He felt so like rebellious at that time. It was that kind of a thing of what I'm doing, this exciting.
Yeah, that's wild.
Well, that was in his heart for many times. He lost that Bible. He read certain things, but I imagine it in a teenager mind.
Yeah.
I think I'm not entirely sure what happened with that Bible. At that point, in some point of his life, he lost that Bible. But it was not in that very moment. So, and then he, more or less at that time, he was passing by at a city in Cusco, and he saw few people, like singing hymns, and a missionary, American missionary, kind of leading the songs. And he stopped and looked, and people just look back and say, who's that? Who's that little fellow there? And my dad, with a lot of regret, said, I never felt I felt bad because I would enter that place if somebody would say, come in.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody invited me to come in.
Oh, wow.
And he decided, when he got converted, he said, I would never do that in my church. So since then, he saw a new person, he would just invite him. But anyway, I'm going to make this long story short because
and there's
it has a lot of details. Yeah. Well, my dad, frustrated with his family, he escaped from Cusco, went to Lima. And that is a few miles.
Really?
Trouble. I mean, yeah. And at that time, it was even more. So he lived by himself, basically. Couple of disappointments there with the family, and promises not fulfilled. He was 14.
Oh, wow.
He was 14. Living alone, big city.
Mm-hmm.
He decided to enroll. He decided, I'm going to make my way to Europe. My plan is go Peru, if you know a little bit of geography. Peru next to Brazil. Peru touched the Pacific Ocean. Brazil touched the Atlantic. And so I'm going to cross the jungle, go to Brazil, and from Brazil, whatever happened, I would just, or rather stay in Brazil or go to Europe, was his plan.
Okay.
So he enrolled. He thought that the best way to do it was enrolling in the army. So he did so. He did that. And a lot of things happened there. Not necessarily good. But in that way, he reached the jungles of Peru. In the jungles of Peru, he was, living as another unbeliever.
Mm-hmm.
he stumbled, well, not cross path, I would say not stumble, but cross path with two missionaries, native missionaries. They taught him about the gospel. And for the first time, he was this makes sense. But he didn't accept Jesus Christ per se at that very moment. He was invited to a party that very same day, and he got lost. He lost his way to that party. And he has a really kind of a scary experience because it's not like here we have buildings. If you don't know the city, you might probably feel lost.
Yeah.
If he got lost in a jungle. So he had a really, really shocking experience on, spiritual things.
Yes.
And there are a lot of that in the jungle, I would tell you. He got so scared. And he remembered what those missionaries told him. And he said, no, I need to go and talk to them, and I need to surrender to God. And that's what he did next morning.
Wow.
And then the story started.
It's so crazy.
And that was, he was 21 at that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's how your dad came to the Lord.
Exactly.
Okay.
And he was the first student of the First Baptist Seminary in the jungles of Peru.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
It's fascinating how God works, and it was the first generation. Yeah.
And so you have your father, you've learned from your father, you're now a father. You said, sometimes we do the bad things. Those are a lot easier than.
Yeah, that was the parenthesis when it started.
Yes.
Yeah. I feel like in many ways I'm not until his stature, right? The things that he, and this is what I wanted to share before the parentheses, is that I remember one day Peru was for a long time oppressed by terrorism.
Okay.
I mean, a faction of left-wing terrorists. They were like, I would say, socialist or communist. And they took great part of the country and make it was kind of a debilitating harm for the country. So it was very difficult for a family with a few resources to make the day.
Yep.
So that I remember my childhood. It was. So when I compare this to the reality we live here in America, it's just night and day.
Yeah.
But that taught me many lessons. And one of the things is that I remember my dad was invited to preach to a church in the city of Lima, but sometimes we cannot imagine a city that big. I mean, it takes you 2 hours in a car to go from one extreme to the other.
Wow,
of the
really?
city. So that big. And sometimes the traffic is so horrible. But my dad didn't have money for the bus. So why are you waking up so early? Oh, I'm gonna go to a church. I need to preach in that church. My dad was waking up so early, like 5 a.m, because he didn't have money for the ticket, and he went his way walking. Oh, he walked 3 hours. He preached there. The brothers were so poor that they gathered all the offerings they gathered was for his ticket back. I don't know. I don't know if that I'm gonna reach that point. So when somebody tell me, "Oh yeah, this preacher has a millions converted," sorry, I treasure that better.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying I'm not gonna. I try to follow his example,
Yeah.
and hardly to me it's hard to wake up in the morning.
Yeah.
I'm not a morning person.
You have two different examples. You have different of cultures, different
Yeah.
time frames. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, don't put too much pressure on you, brother. But yeah, how are you serving right now as a father?
If I first and foremost
Yeah,
is the Lord, right?
Yeah.
I have 4 girls.
What's their ages?
Oh, good question. One is almost 15. She's 14, my oldest. Then the next one is 11. Then I have another 8.
Mm-hmm.
And the last one, the spoiled one. And the pumper, no, the spoiled one. It's not. Yeah, I would say that. She is 3.
Okay.
And the Lord gave me girls in His sovereign wisdom,
Mm-hmm.
because I need to be gentle with them.
Mm.
I'm rough. And I cannot be rough with them.
Yeah.
They're very sensitive. I have one that is a little tomboyish. But anyway, still a girl.
Mm-hmm.
Still a girl.
Yes.
And one of the things that I just put in my heart to do it is that same thing I saw my dad doing, which is at least to have that once a week, in the weekends, opening the Bible and teaching them. We try to do it more.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, we have more time than just Saturdays, but at least it's Saturdays. Also, something that I saw, I like to see this. This is not actually too difficult to achieve, but something that I like to see is their eyes glowing,
Mm-hmm.
when they see something beautiful. And it's even more, I love that when they see that in Jesus or in the scriptures.
That's good.
It is difficult sometimes in a way, because as parents you might feel frustrated because they don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't get it. And it's fine too. I'm started resting in God's sovereignty, upon my girls, because I'm not always impressive. I'm not always talking nice.
Yeah.
But I take the words of God like as principles. God never gave us this blank check that, hey, if you do this, your kids are going to be saved.
Yeah.
No, there is no recipe, but there are principles
Yeah.
that if you abide on those principles, you are forming that in your kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like me, like myself. Those verses didn't mean anything until the Lord
it did.
activated everything, right? Yeah. So
I'm thankful that you shared, just being open, willingness to share that there are times that you're rough. I think that's even more intensified with the ladies, with the girls. I know that's been true from my experience. We have 2 girls now, but one of them's not even a year old.
Mm-hmm.
The other one's a twin, and I can tell them the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the boys is, but then it's more sensitive for her.
Yes.
And I've learned you have to speak differently to them. And sometimes I just fail at that. And that's one of the things about this podcast is we're not perfect dads. Again, like we're learning.
Nobody's.
We're trying to model Christ.
Yeah.
And anything that we can learn from one another.
Yeah, and my words are just as another brother, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll consider myself that I'm a good father, but by the providence and the grace of God, I'm looking forward to that Father that is in heaven, right? To mimic his ways. And I like to hear Brother Paul too. Brother Paul Washer is amazing on family and all those things. But one thing that in my experience helped me a lot. At the beginning, we were talking about this idea that it's easy to repeat the mistakes and the sins of our parents.
Mm-hmm.
And I got scared when I said, "Oh, I'm repeating the things that I was so mad about my parents." I'm kind of doing it myself, you know. My dad and I, we had a very generational gap. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
It was a totally different generation. And even though I'm considering myself Generation X.
Okay.
I was the last of them. I was born December 23rd, 1980. So I was
barely made
close. I barely made it. Some people consider me still millennial, but I would refuse that. Anyway, I had a dad that built me as I was, you know, that generation.
Yes.
Why? Because the ones that you might remember of those generations, we got really spanked by, but for real.
Yes.
For real, spankings were spankings. And that is the things that I started seeing myself. And that's one of the things that you know, now in retrospectively, many times I thought I deserve this spanking. You know, I was terrible. That was terrible. I knew in my heart that what I did was wrong. But sometimes I saw my dad, like, in today's standards, he went a little too far.
Yeah.
With myself. I'm not putting anything on my dad, and that's, as we were talking, there is no perfect parents. He was a different generation. But I started seeing those things in myself.
Yeah.
Getting out of control with my kids. And I need to crucify that. You know. That gave me a lot of grief. But if someday my oldest daughter might listen to this podcast somewhere, somehow, she knows already that I asked for forgiveness.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes attitudes in ourselves are not easier, but you repent of and you never turn back, right?
Yeah.
And those are one of the things that happened in my life. I never turned back to be irascible or wrathful or out of control. Thank the Lord that by His grace I'm in a different phase of my life now. But kids had this ability to touch that fiber of our souls that it shouldn't be touched, right?
Yes. Well, when you were talking about being rough, I was just thinking of my own family and my kids, and it's very interesting to me how the Lord knows how to put each kid in a specific place to show you your own sin, to push those buttons that you you think are good, and then you realize, man, I need the grace of God here. I need to commit to look like him in this area. I need some work here. And it just happens to be this one kid who just shows you that. And it's the mercy and grace of God refining us through our children for me. So just, it's the Lord's works of sanctification, kids.
Yeah.
And I just realized, man, ever since having kids,
Yeah.
you know, I get married. Here's how it worked. I got married and then I realized, man, I'm pretty selfish. Then I have a kid and I realize, yeah, I'm still selfish. And you have more kids and you realize, how selfish can you be? You just realize how much we care so much about ourselves, and we're not selfless and giving as the Father is to us.
You pointed out something very interesting. When you get married, even though you are just married, you think, oh man, this is going to be difficult. First days, sharing the same bed. I don't know if can do this. I like my space. But then just a few days in and you solve the problem. Yeah? You started maturing. You started sharing. Yeah. You started caring for another person in a different way, not just that, hugs or say, no, in a more, it's now your family. Now that is your circle. And then, even though if you don't have kids, you have not been tested really. But marriage is one step on that, conforming you, God conforming you into his image, right? Because there are two sinners united. Yeah. It's going to be friction.
That is.
It's going to be friction. Yep. And then when those little sinners come to your life, you love them badly, but they are going to touch the fibers that,
Exactly.
They know what buttons to press. Yep. I'm telling you.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah. I think every dad knows. They know exactly what's going on.
And some people think that I'm too strict in a way. I'm not that strict.
Yeah.
But because, my girls are super cute. And the last one has big eyes. And when she knows that she got in trouble, and she looked with puppy eyes, yeah, part of me is like, man, how you dare to discipline this so beautiful creature?
I know it.
And then my other side, my kind of a not so benevolent side comes, no, I'm not that kind of person. My pride also.
Yes. Yep.
No, I'm tough. I'm going to teach this little critter what responsibility means and authority. So I need to balance that, man. I need to balance that. And I learned also as parent that we need to give grace.
Yeah.
We need to give grace. Yes. I mean, we receive grace. We need to give grace.
Yes.
I mean, not everything is solved by spanking or not even raising our voice. We made a covenant. Kind of covenant sounds like a biblical term, right?
Yeah.
We make a kind of an agreement. The not raising our voice in our house. No. I want to hear laughter.
Yeah.
And this and that, loud as you can. But not raising your voice. And when we do it, we know that something is wrong.
Yes.
Right? So we did that. And we reach a point that when we have disagreements, my wife and I have disagreements. When somebody raise their voice, we say, "Oh,
yeah, yeah,
problems."
We had a brother on here. He's 74 now. He was like 72, 71 when he got on, and he talked about that, about the importance of protecting the voice, not raising the voice all the time, because then it becomes just normal.
Yeah.
And if your kid's running across the street and you yelling, that doesn't mean anything. But if you've protected that.
Exactly. So to the point that we all, as persons, we need to figure it out, right? When they go to a loud house,
Mm-hmm.
Visiting friends and all those things. Oh, Dad, they are very loud.
Yeah.
So I need to explain to them, well, our standards are a little bit too high.
It's a little different.
It's a little bit different.
Yes.
We need to be, we need to tolerate in certain ways, certain things, or we need to be gracious. But we are not that way.
Mm-hmm.
But we need to understand that not everybody has those standards.
Yeah.
Right? But it's a good litmus test,
Yes.
I would say, of how things are going in family.
Yeah.
And for us as well.
Well, you're talking about control, like seeing these things and learning how to control and be better at those sorts of things.
Yeah.
We don't have too much time left. I was looking down here.
Yeah.
So maybe you could give a couple of final words that you could encourage other dads out there.
I like to encourage with this. I mean, please take the good things about this conversation.
Yeah, they would.
Because we all know what's to be the difficulties of life. But this is my advice, as well as I am kind of learning this. The best thing that you can do to your kids is love your wife. If they see how much you love your wife, they are gonna feel safe. And there is nothing better in this world than see your dad and mom. They are never going to divorce.
Wow.
They love each other. They never raise their voice to each other. When they try to solve it pretty quick. It's not even going to be in their vocabulary.
That's amazing.
I think that's the most. It's not mine, that advice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest, but since I did that, I mean, so many things out of my back. The burden is not that heavy. So, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful to learn how to love that imperfect person that is sharing your bed.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, brother, thank you. I just want to encourage you that was helpful to me, even just as a reminder and a challenge, really.
It is.
I need to love my wife better.
Sounds cliche, right?
Yeah, but it's
do it.
Yes, that's what this is about. The Practical Dad, episode 0, which was a long time ago, and it was about a dad walking into a room, and his son sitting there. He goes, "What are you doing? Tie your shoes." Shoes aren't tied. Because don't you know that if you do that, you're going to ruin your shoes. You're going to fall. You're going to trip. Tie your shoes. Mm-hmm. And the son looks up at his dad and said, "I would, but you never taught me." And talking about those practical things, you can
yes.
I preach from the pulpit, true things. Hopefully I'm doing these things right. Mm-hmm. But preaching about being a dad, you got to lead your children. Well, teach us how to lead our children. And this is where this conversation came. So you've just helped me, brother. And I just want to encourage you. And I'm so thankful that you took your time out of this evening to come be on the podcast.
All the time. It's a pleasure to talk to you. It's nice to talk to you.
Thanks, brother.